Rightio, we've got the live stream.
Is ready. I will declare the meeting open. Okay, I'll declare the meeting open, but I'm going to hand over to Ken straight off the bat because we've got some protocols that we've got to go through. So if you can just...
I think Glenys has just come in too. I've got a phone number here, so I suspect it's her.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good morning, everyone. As we know, this is our first virtual meeting, so amendments have been made to the Local Government Act 1993 to allow Council to meet remotely to assist in managing the risk of transmission of the COVID-19 virus and to ensure compliance with the current public health order. The amendments to the Act also provides the requirements under Section 10 for the meetings to be open to members of the public to satisfy a webcast of the meeting is made public. Accordingly, councillors are advised that this meeting is being live streamed to the public, and by speaking at this council meeting, you are consenting to the meeting being live streamed and recorded. All persons speaking at this meeting are required to use appropriate language and be respectful to others at all times. The Wentworth Shire Council accepts no responsibility for defamatory or offensive remarks that may be made during these proceedings. Councillors are advised that they continue to be obliged to disclose and appropriately manage conflicts of interest that may have in matters being considered at this meeting, and you continue to be obliged to remove yourselves from the consideration of matters in which you have pecuniary or significance non-pecuniary conflicts of interest. The meeting host will monitor attendees to ensure compliance with these requirements. Councillors are also advised that you continue to be obliged to protect any confidential information considered at the meeting. When we move into the closed session, live stream will be discontinued, and councillors should ensure that they participate in the meeting in a location where it cannot be seen or heard by anyone else. In order to reduce audio feedback, councillors and senior staff are requested to mute their audio microphone until such time as you wish to speak, and only to speak when invited to do so by the Mayor. Thank you for those protocols, and I'll hand back over to the Mayor.
Okay, thank you. This is going to be really odd, but can I just ask everyone to be upstanding for the prayer, please? Almighty God, may trust and justice remain with this council in their deliberations. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, apologies or applications for leave?
No apologies.
No apologies. We'll move on to disclosures of interest. Is anyone got anything to add to disclosures?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I do. Jane?
Okay. Councillor McAllister, yep.
12.2 and 12.4, non-significant pecuniary interest as my other half works at Mildura Truck Centre.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, myself, I have 9.9 and 12.3. 9.9 is a family member with an amendment with a DA, and 12.3 is again a family member works at one of those listed on the list. Can I ask for a mover and a seconder on those?
So moved.
So moved.
So Councillor Nichols and
Councillor Elstone.
Councillor Elstone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, before we go into the confirmation of the minutes from the last meeting, and that we're going to invite Glenys Beaumont to speak.
So we'll just adjourn into the
So
public forum.
if I can ask if someone can have us adjourn into a public forum.
I move standing orders be suspended and we move into a public forum.
Thank you, Councillor Noonan. Seconded.
Yeah, I'll second that.
I'll move that.
Councillor Elstone, thank you. All those in favour? This is really hard. Carried. Thanks.
Okay, Glenys, you there somewhere?
I've unmuted her, so she should be able to talk now.
Hello, it's Glenys.
Hi, Glenys. Thank you for participating this morning. So we're in the public forum part of the business, and we invite you to talk in relation to the item of discussion 9.2, for which the council will be addressing in our closed session of council this morning. So over to you to give us where your community group's up to.
Thanks, Ken, and thanks, Madam Mayor and councillors. It's lovely to have this opportunity. So I'm Glenys Beaumont. I'm the president of the Wentworth District Community Medical Centre Incorporated. We're a group that have 10 core local members with a commitment to the community. We're a skills-based group, and we have become an incorporated entity, and we're currently seeking charitable status. And our vision, and I'm sorry that some of you have heard this before, but our vision is to have a fit-for-purpose, contemporary, community-owned medical centre that accommodates doctors, pathology, dental and allied health clinicians that will provide health and related services to our rural community. We don't want to run a GP clinic. We want to attract a GP service that has expertise to successfully run a practice and can support our hospital and nursing home, and that will help us attract allied and para-health professionals. And we know from experience in other rural communities that to attract GP services, the availability of a fit-for-purpose contemporary medical practice or medical facility is paramount, as it removes the need for the GP to invest upfront in infrastructure, which can be a barrier for some GPs. We know that if we can get a dedicated full-time GP service in our town, it'll improve locals' access to healthcare. It'll provide continuity of care to our patients, a solid base for our hospital to grow services to better suit community needs, and it'll assist Murray House. But importantly, it adds to Wentworth's livability and attractiveness. And a dedicated full-time GP service is considered to be a minimal service level for a rural community. So our group has the support of the community. Even though we weren't able to hold our March community meeting, memberships are growing, fundraising's underway. Wentworth Rotary have provided us with some seed funding. We have 2 current grant applications with the Wentworth and District Community Bank, one to support concept design work on an identified building, and the second for furnishings, fitting and equipment. And I'd like to thank the Mayor for providing a letter of support for these applications, as it indicates to funders a level of collaborative approach on this community issue, which is very important. So our group, as Wentworth District Community Medical Centre, is perfectly suited to be a core component in Wentworth Shire Council's health precinct plans. With council relocating to the Civic Centre in April 2021, there'll be an opportunity to repurpose council infrastructure to other community uses, such as a medical centre. And having raised this in our early discussions, we wrote to council on the 6th of February this year to formally register our interest in the administration building. Our group's timeline has always been medium to long term. However, the recent departure of the Wentworth family doctor has challenged us to consider possible short-term solutions. And at the request of the Mayor, we provided indicative costings for a clinic startup based on best intel that was available to us. We know from our meeting with CHAC this week that they have secured a part-time GP and a lease for the Darling Street Clinic, with an interest to start a 2-day per week GP service in late May or thereabouts. As a group, we're committed to engage and work with all levels of government and other stakeholders to progress our vision for a medical centre that will support the community's needs for a comprehensive, full-time medical and related services. And we await Council's response on our request for the use of surplus infrastructure in the soon-to-be health precinct so that our medium to long-term plans can be progressed. And I'm happy to take questions from anyone.
Thank you, Glenys. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, thanks, Glenys. Thanks for your time and thanks for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you for the opportunity. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Move this, someone to move us out of the forum.
Yes,
I'll move that we resume standing orders.
Thank you. Councillor Noonan, seconded.
Yes, I seconded.
Councillor Elstone, all those in favour? Carried. if when I ask if anything can be moved or seconded, if you could just raise your hand up near your head, I can see your head, so it might help a little bit in that regards.
And just likewise, I don't think I covered it previously, but the recording of votes shall be by a verbal yes or no, or some way through the meeting we'll record that where there's necessity for a vote, that we either do it by exception, that those record their votes against it, or a show of hands isn't going to work because we can't see all of the people. So we'll ask for yes or no votes against certain matters, if that's okay.
Can I just suggest, if I may, Madam Mayor, I would suggest that any vote is illegal unless we can actually see who is voting and how votes are cast. So if we can't see each other, in fact, if we can't see a speaker and we're looking at an agenda which we have in front of us, that's kind of a little bit disrespectful in my mind. But if we must persevere in this way and not actually have a meeting where we can see each other, perhaps the Mayor can go through and ask each councillor how they're voting.
If you scroll on your screen to the left or right, you will be able to see all of the participants in the meeting. Councillor McAllister. If you just slide your screen across to the left or right, you're able to see who the participants are.
We'll progress as we are, and hopefully we'll iron out some of these issues. Confirmation of the minutes.
Okay. Can I ask now if I can have a confirmation of the previous minutes?
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Move Councillor
I'll
Nichols.
second that.
Second Councillor Evans. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, carried. Now I'll also ask for the confirmations of the closed session in the previous minutes. Or is that all in one? Can someone tell me, Paula?
We normally don't confirm the closed minutes separately. We do it as one resolution.
One thing, yep, okay. Righto, 6.1 is outstanding items from the previous minutes or the previous meeting. Is there anything there that anyone would like to discuss?
I'll move the recommendation, Madam Mayor. Just with a question on the first one on the landfill.
Okay, I have a mover. Can I have a seconder to open this up? Councillor Evans?
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Noonan? Councillor Elstone, you wish to speak?
That's all right.
Only just to the GM, just a question on how's his review going at the moment?
Thank you, Councillor Elstone. Basically, it's a document resting with me for further review and possibly give consideration to whether we have got the capacity to maintain the momentum and keep the timeliness of it, or I might come back to you and give some consideration to outsourcing it to move it on quicker than what it has been. So it's a document in my quadrant and just needs attention to get it out into the public to go to tender. So yeah, I apologise for the delay, but that's the nature of where we're at the moment.
Thank you. And just confirmation that the water's turned back on at Pooncarie as of yesterday, I think I read somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's correct. Is Gunny there? Yeah, but basically the resolution of the last council meeting said that in accordance with our drought management plan, when the water got there, and so we're pumping river water as of yesterday, I think, and that accords to relinquishment of the restrictions.
Yeah,
Which the
Yeah, that's right. All the pumps and everything all been swapped over. All the communication and the letters advising all the residents have all been distributed. And yeah, so there's a seamless changeover to the pumps. And council will also been doing all the regular water quality testing up there as well, and providing all those results 2 or 3 times a week through to the authority as well. So yeah, no, all well at the moment.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on any of these matters? No? I have a mover and a seconder. I'll put it. All those in favour? Okay, this is really hard because I've just got to think that everyone's agreeing.
Which they are. People would tell us.
Yeah. Okay, that'll be carried. If you're voting against, can you let me know so we know that I know that everyone's that's been carried. 7.1 is my mayoral report, which I'm happy to move if I can have someone second it.
I'll second it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. There's no discussion to be had on it. I'll put it. All those in favour?
Madam Mayor,
Sorry?
come out of JO meetings?
No, I think the last meeting it was more working out how we were going to keep moving forward with this COVID-19 and how we were all going to keep meeting up. So I think that last meeting was called to work out how we can keep communicating and linking up. And there was a bit of discussion on Balranald not being like now they're gone into administration. Are they going to be kept part of it? Which I think they said yes, because they've still got an administrator in there like Central Darling, so they'll stay part of it all. So yeah, apart from that, Councillor Noonan, probably not a lot more out of that. It wasn't a very long meeting, was it, Ken? It was very just working out how we're going to keep communicating and linking up with each other. So if there's no further on that, I'll put it. All those in favour? Carried. We'll go to 8.1, which is formal request of the review of the speed zone in Golgol. Gunny, have you got anything you want to put to this?
Sorry, Director of Roads and Engineering or Simon, if we can have a bit of volume in the discussion.
Can anyone else hear Jeff?
No.
No. Nothing in Dandenong.
Simon, can you hear us?
Hang on, Gunny, you're still mute. I mean, it doesn't say you're mute, but we can't hear you. Any discussion from any participating councillors around the recommendation? Do we need further comment from Jeff at this point in time?
No.
Possibly the only thing it says it's not a delegation of council, so therefore we'd need to go with the officer recommendation.
Okay. All right. Can I have a mover and a seconder for 8.1?
Councillor Nichols moved.
Councillor Nichols. Yep. And a seconder. Can't see anyone here.
Yeah, Councillor Hayward,
Councillor
second.
Hayward.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Hayward. I'll put it. All those in favour? Carried. 8.2 is reports from Carramar Drive Sporting Complex User Group. Can I know I have someone move this?
I'll move it.
Councillor Evans. Seconded.
Turn your mic on, Steve.
Did someone see anyone second that?
Yeah, Councillor Hayward, he's having
John
a bit
now.
of trouble with his mute, I think.
Oh, Councillor Hayward, thank you. Is there any questions or discussion to be had on that? If not, I'll put it.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I think this report from the Carramar Drive one, isn't it?
Yep.
That's correct.
Yeah. We need to get back to them and inform them how the Kumiala one went, whether it was a lot of community input in moving the dirt and everything like that. And I think they need to look around to get community support if they, for a second oval. I think it needs to go back to the meeting with that sort of input.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councillor Nichols.
Look, it's a very, very long needs list or wants list. I think that it needs to have a full costing done because it's going to run into millions. The legality of us shifting a levy bank, where do we sit with those sorts of things? And under the maintenance, where they say, a lot of these things have been ongoing for a long time, particularly the wanting that slide window. If the football club's not prepared to put that in, hire the damn place out anyway, because this has been ongoing for some time as well. And the exit light in the back room has become dislodged. This has been caused by misuse or some human person, because some of these things to me seem that they may be caused by the users rather than problems that are going wrong at the hall. So it's a huge list of wants or needs, or and it's going to run into millions of dollars. So I think that we need to have a full costing done of the whole report. And Jane's disappeared off the screen, so we can't see you, Jane. That's all.
Yeah, I can't see anyone either.
Okay. Jane, are you on your council iPad?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I just wonder how you scroll up and down or across if you're on a computer to see the screen.
Yeah. Anyway.
I have sought guidance, Madam Mayor. I'm not getting any responses to the chat function here either. I'm terribly concerned about the lack of transparency with this meeting.
Okay, we'll press on and see if we can overcome that by by verbal acknowledgement of for and against the resolutions.
All right, well, we'll start with this one. We have a mover and a seconder. So if I ask for all those in favour,
Just say aye.
just say aye.
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 Any against?
Councillor Noonan,
Sorry, I got distracted there a minute ago. I'll go aye.
thank you. Councillor McKinnon,
He needs to unmute.
and Councillor McAllister.
Sorry, I'm just trying to juggle technology. I'm not sure what we're up to.
In favour of the moving of the resolution to adopt the minutes of the Carramar Oval Sporting User Group.
Yeah, I'll just make the point that the amount of time it's taken to get keys, that was one of the things that was on the list when I first joined this group some 3 or so years ago. That still hasn't happened, and I think council response to requests has just been disgraceful, and the meeting was embarrassing to be at, frankly.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for those comments.
And I've put it, so it's carried. 9.1 is the General Manager's report. Ken?
Under the circumstances.
The recommendation, Madam Mayor, 1, 2 and 3.
Thank you, Councillor Elstone. Seconded.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Councillor Hayward. Ken?
Yep.
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Anyone got anything
Madam
to
Mayor,
ask the General Manager in regards to his report?
I have a question, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councillor Nichols.
Under the circulars of the 20th of the 8th, and it's the third dot point from the bottom, it says council meetings can be held entirely remotely by audio visually. Alternatively, where councils continue to meet in person, individual councils are permitted to participate in the meeting by audio visual link. Now, seeing as the problem we're having here today, would we not be better to try to all meet, and those who can't come in meet by this audio visual? Because I know that the council over the river is having a council meeting, and we're backwards and forwards today. And if Councillor McAllister is having troubles, and she's probably the most savvy councillor with IT equipment on council, then it's just not. I believe we should look at seeing if we can go back to meeting with the spacing. We've got plenty of space in our offices, and if some councillors can't link up, well then they come in with the audio. I'd like other councillors' thoughts.
I'm with you now, but I've just had a look at how it presents on Facebook, and I'm not very happy with that either, I have to say.
Has anyone got anything else to put to Councillor Nichols' suggestion?
Who else apart from McAllister, councillor, is having any problems? We don't seem to be having any problems.
As I just said, Councillor McKinnon, I'm with you now. Thank you.
I think we'll take your position on board, Councillor Nichols, and try and either improve technology significantly or explore those opportunities to bring a number of participants to one location. So we'll try and work to have a better system in place by the 13th of May meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder. Sorry, we have a mover and a seconder. Can I ask all those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Aye.
Thank you. 9.2, proposal to provide medical services to Wentworth Township. If I can have a mover and a seconder to open this up for discussion.
Or defer it into closed.
Or defer it into closed.
I'll move the recommendation because it refers to that the proposal be considered in the closed session.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, move Councillor Elstone, second Councillor McAllister. All those in favour?
Aye.
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 9.3.
Carried. 9.3, 2020 Floodplain Management Australian National Conference.
I'll move the recommendation, Madam Mayor.
Move Councillor McAllister, seconder.
I'd second it, Madam Mayor, with the, if we can, with the, perhaps the, under the financial implications, that we go with the ability of 6 logins, which would be $200. Would give the majority of people, if they're interested, to be able to go in.
Okay. You happy with that, Councillor McAllister, as you moved it?
Yeah, I'm not sure if we need to nominate a delegate if we do it that way. Maybe whoever's interested can attend.
Yeah. Is that how you read it, Ken?
Yeah, we'll approach it in the fashion that we'll nominate for the FMA full corporate and professional membership for $200 for up to 6 logins, and those councillors or team members wishing to participate will work out who the 6 are.
Okay, I have a mover and a seconder, and I'll put it. All those in favour?
Aye.
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 Carried. 9.4, Critical Water Advisory Panel Delegates.
I'll move that. Councillor Hayward here.
Okay, move Councillor Hayward, seconded.
Councillor Evans.
We need to nominate. Sorry, we need to nominate a delegate. Can I just suggest that Councillor Elstone's been sitting in, and if he's happy to continue when Councillor Nichols hasn't been available, if he's happy to continue, then perhaps he be the delegate.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I'd like to speak to it.
Yes, Councillor Nichols.
Yeah, I just found that the multitude of emails we've got, and on 2 days I received 5, some of them with conflicting, and then it got to where you had to have a secret number to get in, and that number was good for 15 minutes, and if you didn't get in that time, it disappeared. I thought it got over the top with me because, and I knew I had said in my letter of resignation that I knew another councillor had been sitting in on the meeting, which I had no problem to, and there are probably several councillors in the room there that have water interests, and I also believe that a lot of the stuff that is discussed probably should be open to all councillors anyway.
Anyone else got any feedback?
I'll just address a couple of points that Councillor Nichols raised. The department tends to use an app called Cisco for meeting hosting, and it is technologically difficult. And our first meeting that Councillor Nichols and Mark Forbes from the JO and I sat in, we had considerable difficulties, repeated difficulties getting in, but we seem to have smoothed the way somewhat, and I think Councillor Elstone has been phoning in, and I've worked out how to get into it. But because it's a government department run meeting, and councillors who were at the meeting in Pooncarie where we had to really jump up and down and stamp our feet to get a place on that particular government run panel, may remember that it was, they were actually resistant to having anyone from council on there. So the fact that we're on there, I think we need to stay on there. I'm not sure whether it is open to anyone, but I'm certainly happy to ask that question at the next meeting, which will be on Friday.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Elstone, you're happy to do what you've been doing, continue through?
Yep. Yeah, no worries.
Okay. If everyone's in favour, that we have a mover and a seconder. Yes.
Who moved and seconded, sorry?
Was Stephen Gregg.
Yes. So Councillor Haywood
I
and
seconded.
Councillor Evans, thank you. So I'll put that. All in favour?
Aye.
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 Carried. 9.5 is the state government funding for the New South Wales public libraries.
Madam Mayor, I'd love to fully support all of the recommendations 1 through 4, and so move them. I think the importance of libraries has really been shown during this pandemic, and the response of our staff to concerns from the community and keeping the community connected vitally, I think has just been above all expectations, and full credit to them. So I'm certainly happy to move this.
Thank you. Councillor McAllister,
Yep.
seconder.
I'll second that.
Councillor Haywood. If there's no discussion on it, I'll put it. All those in favour?
Aye.
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 Carried. 9.6 is the monthly financial report. Can I ask someone to
I'll
move
move this, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Nichols, seconded.
I'll second it, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Noonan, thank you. Any discussion to be had?
Yes, please.
Madam Mayor, I have a question.
Yes,
But
please. Could someone explain to me how the human resources manager chalked up 60 hours of overtime? What it involved?
Simon, are you there?
No, it'd be me.
Oh,
No.
Ken?
Yeah, a very valid and disturbing question, Councillor Noonan. Through the structure and recruitment and this around this coronavirus and working with teams to implement certain parameters around working from home requests and whatever else. So the answer is in simplicity that one man's trying to do a job and it's extended over weekends and after hours and whatever else. So I too share your concern in relation to the way that's reported, and hopefully I can do something to minimise that from here on in.
Anyone else?
Just on that point, Madam Mayor, can I just congratulate Council for the way that it's coped through this pandemic. I think it must have been very difficult to maintain calm, not only within the staff, but within the whole community. And I can see that, it's times like this when we do need a human resources manager. And I can only imagine the amount of work and stress and extra thinking that has gone into managing the whole raft of what we do. So congratulations to everyone. Unfortunately, the cost is borne at local council level, as we know, and hopefully we can recoup some of that.
Anyone else?
I think Councillor Nichols wanted to say something as well, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Councillor Nichols? Councillor Nichols, unmute yourself.
it's all right. Everything disappeared off the screen, Madam Mayor. It's come back. I'm just looking to see what I've got in there now. I asked numerous questions of this to Simon the other day, and I'm not sure, Simon, which one I've left to ask now. So
I thought we covered off on them all, Sue, but I'm happy to take any other questions.
No, we covered numerous of them, and I was happy with the responses you gave me. And if something else comes up, I'll certainly ask.
Okay, thank you. So we have a mover and a seconder. If there's nothing else to discuss on it, I'll put it. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. 9.7 is the monthly investment report. I could have a move and a seconder.
Madam Mayor.
Councillor McAllister. Seconder on this.
Yeah, I'll
I'll
second
second
it.
it, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Elstone, thank you. If there's any discussion?
Yeah, look, one of the questions I asked Simon on this was on page 69, where we had our council investments return with an effective rate of 1.58 at the effective rate at the moment, and we're saying we're going to get 1.83, and the budget for 1920 is 2.5, and I just asked if this was likely to be received, and Simon informed me that council certainly gets significantly better rates than what individuals do. So well done to council and Simon.
I have a question, Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, Councillor McAllister.
Page 66, the unexpended grants. Sorry. There's an amount under the Drought Communities program. Can I get a recap on what that one was for, please? My memory's a little bit waning at the moment.
That one is the finalisation of the Pomona Hall project.
Okay. And just above that, the Pooncarie Weir. What was that money for? Do you remember?
That's been sitting in there for a while. It's there basically. We've got to finalise the easement for the weir, so that money's sitting there to complete that.
Oh, of course, that's right. Thank you for jogging my memory.
That's okay.
Okay, if there's no further questions, I'll put it. All those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Carried. 9.8 is the managing financial hardship from COVID-19.
Can I just clarify a couple of points in the recommendation? And I understand, I think, the thrust of it, but recommendation number 2, point B, sorry, hang on. Recommendation number 2 suggests, as outlined below, for the next 3 months. And point B, not action any notices of demand that have already been issued. I'd just like to know since when, so how far back is that going? I'm not sure it's clear enough.
We can either have it as of today's meeting or we can backdate it to the start of the month. At this stage, we've instructed our debt collection agency to do nothing until the outcome of this meeting.
I would be happy to move this recommendations 1, 2 and 3 as long as B notes that it's from the start of the month.
So 1st of April.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Councillor
I'll
Nichols,
second
thank
it.
you. Yeah.
And I want to ask something as well, that under the debt recovery policy on page 71, that we have that policy brought back to us because recovery action shall commence for debts of $20. I mean, that's not worth getting somebody to get out of their seat to go and look at the policy for that amount of money. It should be increased. That's just ridiculous. It wouldn't cover the postage and the person's wage. So can that come back? I mean, it should probably go up to the same as the legal, the 300.
Okay, thank you. Are you right, Paula? You've got this? I can't see you.
Yes, so I've amended 2B to include issued from the start of April 2020. Were there any other amendments to it?
Not in the recommendations, but Councillor Nichols just asked whether we could bring the debt recovery policy back to change to council.
Yep.
To review, Councillor Nichols.
Yes, I think it needs to be looked at and revised because, as I said, that depth of $20 is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Paul. I'll just make sure you got that. Yep.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay, we have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion on it, I'll put it. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Was that Councillor Nichols and Councillor McAllister who moved and Nichols who seconded? Was that
Yes,
correct?
thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
I've got pecuniary interest in this one, so I'm just going to leave the room. So, Councillor Elstone, are you able to take over the chair for me, please?
Certainly, Madam Mayor.
Okay, Ken will give you the heads up when I'm out.
For the purpose of the recording, the Mayor has left the room and I'd ask Councillor Elstone to assume the chair.
Thanks, Ken. 9.9 councillors, the delegated authority approvals for the end of March. Could I have a mover? Thank you.
I'll move it.
Evans. Seconder.
I'll second it with a question.
Seconded Councillor McAllister. Show it open to discussion. Councillor Nichols.
Yes, please. If we could have DA 2020/008, a storage shed for $99,000. Is that in an area that's not going to cause any problems to anyone because it's an awful large storage shed? Someone answer that question. And the other one was the cost of the last one, DO 2020/028, and it's a Wentworth Shire Council one, so we should know the answer. Relocation of existing scoreboard and erection of a new scoreboard at George Gordon Oval Sporting Complex for $60,000. I mean, what sort of a scoreboard are we going to have? And I mean, that's a huge amount of money.
Electronic.
Electronic.
Yeah, the new one's electronic, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think it's all funded by the footy club, though, isn't it? Or one of the community grants.
I've got no idea. That's why I was asking the question.
Not a budget item of ours.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
not a council cost.
No.
Okay, well, that's fine because, I mean, if it was a council cost, we'd have every football club in the district wanting a new scoreboard.
I agree.
And
Any other discussion?
Matthew, that DA 008, I mean, the address says it's at 17 River Road, Coomiella, so that'll be in a rural environment or a large lot residential environment, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, put it to the vote. All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, carried. And we need a division on it as well. Thanks. So can we have everyone hands up?
Aye.
Aye.
Recorded as all in favour. Thank you.
7, yeah, I haven't got Councillor McAllister on my screen, but are you a yes, Councillor McAllister?
I'm a yes, thank you.
Thank you. That's everyone in favour.
I'll just
Thanks,
excuse
Ken.
myself from the room and just go and get the mayor back.
Okay.
9:10.
Thank you. 9.10 is Knob Road closure and realignment.
move that one.
Councillor Hayward,
Councillor Hayward here.
thank you. Seconder,
I'll second that. Councillor Evans.
Councillor Evans. Is there any discussion to be had on this?
Yeah, just,
Question,
Madam Mayor, if I
Sorry.
can, a quick question to Director of Engineering. Has it any effect on any local landholders? It doesn't look like it's a big area on the map, but if it has, have they been considered or contacted or consulted?
I might just nothing that I can see really with regards to that. Matthew does have an item which he maybe is relevant. So,
thank you, Jeff. The surveyor has identified that there is a stock water supply in the area, but they're going to survey that and make sure that it doesn't impact any stock water supply in the surrounding area. And the survey plans will show that. And the purpose of this DA is to seek a recommendation, to review the proposal and to create that existing, to remove the road and create a new road, so they can extend their mining lease and put that out to exhibition.
Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I'm certainly in support of it. It's just so long as people are consulted in the right fashion.
Councillor Nichols?
Yes, Councillor, that was a similar question I asked, and the other question is, does this group Tronics, have they, are all their rates and fees up to date? We seem to have some problem with sometimes with our rates with some of these companies.
Simon?
No, they've ever since we had that board action meeting, their rates and fees have been up to date.
Thank you. Did you get that, Councillor Nichols?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Any other questions?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I have a question. I'm just wondering whether this has had a safety assessment or whether it needs one. I note there have been some safety issues, particularly around, when there's been a bit of moisture on the road, and it looks to me as though this may alleviate some of those issues, but I can't see anywhere, and I'm sorry if it's here, but I just can't see it, whether there's been a safety assessment or whether it's required.
Jeff, do you know the answer to any of that?
I don't off the top of my head. I'm not sure that one is required, but I will take that on notice. We might have to follow that up on that. But as I said, I haven't had a lot of input into this particular proposal, but so I'd have to leave it at that and maybe just come back to you with regards to that question.
Okay.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yeah. Just from what I know, knowing the intersection as it is and looking at where it's going to go, I would think they're doing it because of safety issues. Because it's probably not one of the safest intersections as it is now, but with this coming out further off the bend is probably a lot safer, so I would be surprised, Councillor McAllister, if they're doing it for safety issues. Yeah.
I would agree with you, Madam Mayor, but I think as it is a council road, I think it would be prudent for us to make sure that if it is needed, that it's done, and if it's not needed, that we know that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, hear your concerns. All right, we have a mover and a seconder, so I'll put it. All those in favour?
Aye.
Carried. 9.11, Wentworth Local Environmental Plan. The planning proposal for recreation infrastructure zones in Wentworth.
I'll move this, Madam Mayor, with a question.
Councillor Nichols?
I'll second it.
That was Councillor
Elstone.
Elstone. Thank you.
There's only couple of things, Madam Mayor. Page 155, which is nearly the last one, is not being able to be read. It's just simply you can't read it, so it needs to be fixed up. Apart from that, I think this is probably the best outcome I can see achieved for the Wentworth Township and our ratepayers here in the life of this council. I would like to think that we can go and look at all areas and see what others of these we can pull forward and sort out, because and I'd also like to congratulate the two people who have mentioned here as those who in the document, because I think it's a very, very good report.
Thank you, Councillor Nichols. Anyone else got anything to add to this?
Just like to say it's been a long time coming, and I think once this is done, we'll really be able to start moving ahead.
Yep. Okay, if there's no further discussion, I'll put it. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Carried.
I think we need a division, Madam Mayor.
And we'll have a division on this one. So can I please ask, with the division, if I can ask, go around the chamber, Councillor Nichols.
Yes.
Councillor Haywood.
Yes.
Councillor McAllister.
Aye.
Councillor Wheeldon.
Muted.
You there, Councillor Wheeldon?
He's muted at the moment.
We'll keep going. Councillor Elstone.
Aye.
Councillor McKinnon.
Aye.
And Councillor Noonan.
Aye.
And Councillor Evans.
Aye.
And I'll go back. Councillor Wheeldon, are you there? Simon, is Sinead still with Councillor Wheeldon?
I think she's gone back to the office, Madam Mayor.
I wonder whether Councillor Wheeldon's actually still connected, but I haven't seen or heard his face.
He's still showing up as being connected.
Okay, he must be on mute.
Hey, I'm trying
Yes, he is. His sign saying he's on mute.
Is the host of the meeting allowed to able to unmute Councillor Wheeldon?
Yeah, I'm trying that, Councillor McAllister. It doesn't seem to want to work.
Given the circumstances, we'll just move on and we'll seek clarification for Councillor Wheeldon as soon as he comes back online.
Okay, we'll continue through. 9.12 is the draft for the Baronga Golgol Structure Plan. Now, everyone would have received this, as I'm holding up here.
Move the recommendation, Madam Mayor.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll second that.
Second to Councillor Haywood. I just have a couple of things in it that when I went through in regards to talking about some of the the Caramar Drive Sporting Complex. A few times it's in there as Caramar, then other times it's in as Elcharinga Sporting Oval. So I think we need to just get all those things aligned to make it so people know it's the one place we're talking about. Is there anyone else that's got anything to add to this structure plan?
If I can, Madam Mayor, it's obviously a structure plan. It does comprehensively mention a lot of infrastructure projects, but I think we need to emphasise that we need to get the infrastructure plan, master plan, or whatever you want to call it, and have a really hard look at it to make sure that we don't have a repeat of some of the issues like the East Golgol water issue moving forward.
Madam Mayor, I'd just like to comment, if I may. It would be my hope that when this does go out to public consultation, that the communities of both Golgol and Baronga are able to I suppose, illustrate their vision for their towns. That is, in terms of amenity, how they would like their discrete villages to maintain or hold whatever their individual identities are, while we're looking at those two, I guess, suburbs really connecting into the future. Because I think that's really the only thing that's missing, would be having a bit of a community vision of amenity. You know, how they would like the heart of their towns to appear, if that makes sense.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I had numerous comments on this item, but I rang yesterday and spoke to Michelle and have eased all those out of, they've all been relieved, you know, so it was just one of those things. There were only minor things, and she's overcome the thoughts and the problems that I had. So I thank her for talking with her yesterday.
Thank you.
Yes, and I'd support that too. I think this is a really well presented, comprehensive report as well, and I'm really looking forward to getting some public feedback on it. So well done.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, I have a mover and a seconder. I'll put it. All those in favour?
Aye.
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 Carried. Simon, I'll come back. Still no Councillor Wheeldon?
No, I think he's done something at his end to his tablet. I can't unmute him. I've asked Sinead to go over and help him out.
Okay, can you let us know when he's back on?
Yep, will do.
Thank you.
Councillor Wheeldon's just shown up.
He's still got his mute stuck on somehow, I think.
His mute's stuck on, yeah.
Yeah, he's done something to his tablet at his end that's disabled the microphones. I can't engage it as the moderator.
Okay, well, we'll wait to hear from Sinead.
Yeah, we've still got visual of him and he's still connected into the meeting. He just can't use his microphone.
He can hear us, hopefully.
He should be able to.
Yep. All right, 9.13 is works report update as March 2020.
I'll move that.
Councillor
Councillor
Hayward. Seconded.
I'll second that.
Councillor Evans, thank you. Any discussion on this?
Yeah, I'd just like to have a comment that there seems to be a lot of work getting ahead now in our shire, and it's great to see that the roads and engineering.
Councillor Wheeldon's back online.
Okay, we can hear him. Keep going, Councillor Hayward.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that they're getting on top of a lot of jobs now, and it's great to see that the Cool Hall, the Barrett Pavilion, and the George Gordon Oval. There's been a lot of work done there, and also the work done at the airport, which is going to be a great asset for us. Thank you.
Good. Jeff, is there anything you want to speak on in this?
No, I don't think so. The only thing probably we're still waiting for a confirmation on the repair method to the damage that was caused on the George Gordon netball court. So that photo just illustrates part of damage that was caused. So we hope to hear back from the surfacing contractors via the principal contractor there on the repair method. And just to let councillors know that the airport project, the airport's officially closed down as of Monday this week, and so that project is on track, full steam now. There's a tender to be advertised this weekend coming for the pilot activated lighting, the electrical upgrade, and the flood lighting for the apron area. So that will come out next. But earthworks due to bulk earthworks due to start at the end of this month on that project, and in the meantime there will be installation of drainage and the like. So yes, so that's pretty much where we're at with that, and hopefully the next workthrough report will give you a further update on that project.
Great, thank you. I think these update reports are really good, being in the current situation we are, and we can't drive around and, so to speak, and have a look at all this stuff. So I think it's good if we can just keep having these reports come in so we know how things are travelling. So,
Madam Mayor, I agree with you. However, under a couple of the things, we've got things when they're going to commence. Can we have some sort of idea of when things might be finished? I mean, they're going to repair the defective sewage lagoon linings at Namatjira. Would be nice to know when it was going to, and it's holding up another one. It'd be nice to know how long it's going to take to get that repaired, because some of those things are sort of fairly vital. And we've just, so if we could have some sort of idea of how long these repairs and when it says things are going to will commence, if we could have some sort of an idea, because will commence is a time into the future.
Take that on.
Can I just make an observation, Madam Mayor, and it's probably only slightly relevant, just about the response to COVID and some of the directions that have come out of government and how they work in a regional area such as ours. It sort of really hurt my heart to see playgrounds closed, and it just seems to me that perhaps a better way of approaching that might have been to put up an at own risk sign, noting that, you know, children have been encouraged to go back to school, and I understand that it shouldn't fall to councils to have to sanitise playgrounds every time they've been used, but mothers are usually, and you know, carers are fairly good at keeping places sanitised for their children, and it just seems a little bit wrong, I guess, that a lot of kids have been stuck at home and not even able to go to their local park, where, you know, you don't often get large clusters of people unless there's a birthday party or something on. So, you know, not a comment about this council really, but it's just, I think it's just sort of sad, and there are a couple of failings of common sense, and, you know, I guess this is the issue that you have when you're legislating for an entire country, but, you know, perhaps I'm not sure whether it's even worth having pushback on that, but I would really have appreciated being able to have some sane discussion around council's response, and I'm not even sure what ability we had to do that.
Was the public health order of the state, so I couldn't really see whether there was any opportunity for consultation, pushback, or any of the above. While I concur with you. Councillor McAllister, I was partway through answering the question in relation to the playgrounds. Is there any further detail or a discussion you'd like to have around that?
From my end, it froze just as you began to speak, so I'm sorry I didn't catch any of that.
Okay.
We're back up and going.
Okay. In response to your question, Councillor McAllister, I was indicating that there was a state public health order that put us in the position of the closing of the playground. So there wasn't any opportunity for us to push back or have consultation in relation to the matter. It was a state public health order that commanded those restrictions, and as best we can throughout this COVID-19, we've adhered to all the requirements of that order. So I agree with your sentiments that we'd be looking forward to the lifting of those restrictions as soon as possible to open up those playgrounds and give opportunity for the community to get back to somewhere near normality.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a mover and a seconder for 9.13. So if there's no further, I'll put it. All those in favour?
Aye.
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 Carried.
Right.
Thank you. I'm going to just quickly go back to 9.11. Councillor Wheeldon, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, I'm in favour of that.
Okay.
Can you hear that?
Yes, we can. Thank you. So, Paula, that's a yes from Councillor Wheeldon. So that gives us everyone in the division. Thank you. We'll now go to notice of questions without notice. If anyone has any, we'll go around as we do in the chamber. We'll go Councillor Evans first. We'll start that side. Councillor Evans, you there?
He's just resigned, Madam Mayor. Just come in, Madam Mayor.
Okay, Councillor
Yes,
Evans,
sorry.
do you have any questions without notice?
No, not today.
No. Councillor Noonan?
Just want to know how the Denton town plan is going, Mr. Gunn.
The Denton town plan has had no further work undertaken on it since we last spoke to Councillor Noonan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor McKinnon?
Mr. Gunn, we have no lights still in the main street. Denton.
I'll follow up on that issue.
It's only been 3 years.
Anything else, Councillor McKinnon?
That'll do.
That'll do it. Councillor Elstone?
No, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Wheeldon?
I bet you, sorry, I'm back on there. I would like to raise the point that the transmission line that's going to go from New South Wales to South Australia goes through over 100 kilometres of the Wentworth Shire. And from
Okay, Councillor
Sorry,
Wheeldon.
can't hear him.
We've lost you again,
Your
Councillor
button's
Wheeldon.
muted. It, no.
I believe the Wentworth Shire
It's off
been
again.
completely unsatisfactory. I believe that
Just click it. Yep.
I believe we should be reimbursed in some way for the use of our council area for the transmission line. And no other shire in New South Wales would be treated like we're being treated. And I believe the minimum request we should make through the state government, it's a state government approved development, and I believe we should be recompensed by the state government, especially the state government of South Australia, who have demolished all their power transmissions and generation things, and we're meant to cover it, like they take all our water and let it go out to sea, or like a lot of it. And I believe we should make very strong submissions to the state government from some kind of monetary.
Okay, we can't hear you again, Councillor Wheeldon.
Yeah.
I'll put it in writing for
Ken
the
has
general
noted
manager.
Yes. So Ken has noted what you've been talking about. So, yeah, if you put in writing to Ken the rest that you'd like to say, that would probably be the best point there.
I think it's a fairly substantive issue that you raised with me the other day and again today, Councillor Wilden. So if you put something in writing to me, and I'll put a report to council to see how what the feeling of the full body of council is in relation to your point of view.
Was Councillor McKinnon wanting to say something? His microphone's on mute.
Councillor McKinnon, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah, did you want to say anything then to what Bill was talking about?
No, I just believe that they have the power to put it through your backyard if they want to. So 96% of the Shire is Crown land, so I wouldn't like our chances.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Councillor McAllister?
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just in response to Councillor Wilden's concerns, it's a shame that wasn't brought up a year and a half ago when they came and spoke to council about what they were going to do and marked out the area that was going to be put upon, and also spoke about the benefits to council. It's a shame all of that has been missed. I have no questions. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Just if I may, Councillor McAllister, it isn't missed. They've been in fairly high regularity consultation with us at an officer level, and as late as they were scheduled to come back on the 4th of May to have another meeting with us. And you know, there was opportunity for having them be part of community projects and other bits and pieces. So while it's not the higher level thing, compensation that Councillor Wilden was asking for, they've been an active participant with the community, and but COVID-19's slowed down their consultation. They're about to come back to the community for an overall consultation in relation to the preferred alignment. So they haven't sort of certainly shut the door on us. They've been open to a level of communication and indeed community project support.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Hayward?
Yes, I'd just like to ask what's happening with our power to the caravan park. Seems to be a fair bit of delay there. I'd say that's with Simon. Would be able to answer that one.
Yeah, I can answer that one for you, Councillor Hayward. We've had approval from Essential Energy for the revised scope of works. Ken signed off on something about 2 weeks ago in relation to that. They're now working with the accredited service provider to actually draw and come up with some more in-depth designs for them. So we're working through that process. We've got an indicative cost from that provider as to how much that will cost, and we've also got quotes, and we've got an approved provider to actually then do the second part, which is do the low voltage internal wiring. So basically everything's pretty much ready to go once Essential Energy sign off on the final detailed designs.
Very good.
And
thank you for that.
Thank you. Councillor Nichols?
Yes, thank you. I've put in several requests of late, and they've been worked on, which is very good. One was to do with the Birronga Wetlands walking track, and that's been fixed, and I thank the council officers for that. However, there is a tap down there that's used by our trucks to get water, to take water around the various sections of the Birronga Golgol area, and it's still on a soft ground. Is it possible to have that area made of a solid type of, whether it be bitumen or something, so that when the trucks drive in and drive out, they're not driving across the track and therefore again disturbing the work that they're currently doing. They seem to turn around there and they're cutting up the ground, and a lot of people walk there and a lot of people go there to sit, and it's a lovely area. It's where they down the area where they hold the Australia Day celebration. So if that could be looked at, that a solid base be put down there, so when the trucks fill with water and come out. They don't muck up the track again. Now, when COVID-19 restrictions are relaxed, are we able to all get in a bus and visit funding projects? And I think this is necessary, our halls, our toilets, our sporting facilities and all other things, because we've got a lot on and a lot going, and I think we need to have a look and see what's finished, what's not finished, and what the finished items look like, because things like the sporting at Dayton, where they've wrecked the basketball court before anyone gets on it. We need to be able to look at all our facilities and the work that our workers and those people working for us have done. So if a possible tour was be able to be organised once the COVID-19 things are finished. And the last thing, and I've raised this for years and years and years, and I raised it as soon as I came back on this council, and I know you don't now call it Murray Street. Please, where is Murray Street? It's a frustration to the people who live opposite. All over summer they've had nothing but dirt and dust. We had the people, Forkhead and those go in so they could maintain the development application, and I believe that they're getting fairly frustrated as well. So where are we with Murray Street? What development is likely to happen? And this has been going on for those councillors who have been on council for a long, long time, and Don will smile and so will Peter. We've been looking at 15 years of this, and it's absolute crap, quite frankly. For Wentworth to go ahead, we don't have oodles of freehold land. We've got very limited freehold land, and we need to push that land that we have so that we don't stagnate. This is a concern. I know we've got a lot of lots over in Golgol, and I hope that the project out of Mildura South won't affect those 500 lots out there, but Murray Street needs to get a push, and the only one who can push it are the council officers and councillors as such. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Nichols, I might just get Ken to speak on Murray Street.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Nichols. Where we're at is the signing of the contracts will happen. So I've spoken to Mr. Forkhead only last week, and he's agreed on the content of the contract. And so we'll sign that contract, which will have a transfer date, which will give him full ownership and occupation of that site. Running concurrently, we've got design and parameters around street and curb and gutter and drainage and all those things associated with a subdivision. There'll be need for traditional native title holder arrangements in relation to the drainage outfall, which is in between George Gordon Oval and the levee bank. So I appreciate your point of view about the 15 years, but the reality is we've got a firm commitment from a developer, a reputable developer who's been within our community and organisation for a lot of years, and he will undertake that development as soon as we iron out a few land tenure issues associated with drainage, I would have thought.
Well, thank you for that response. So if I disappear off the screen, I've gone on my knees to pray.
I might add, if I can, Madam Mayor, that in terms of the involvement with this developer, it's certainly nowhere near 15 years. It's only in the last couple of years, and at least it's moving now. So, and that's because of a decision that this council made, as opposed to probably wasn't what was done in the past.
Madam Mayor, can I also just make the point that those councillors that are talking while the crux of the meeting is happening, while they may not be audible to us all, they are visible and showing great disrespect.
Thank you. Okay, I will now move on to 11. If I can have someone take us into closed.
Councillor Noonan.
Councillor Noonan.
I would move that we adjourn into the closed session of council. Press and public be excluded, and the podcast webcast be suspended. Access to correspondence and reports relating to items considered during the course of the closed session be withheld unless declassified by a separate resolution.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder?
Yep. Councillor Hayward.
Councillor Hayward, thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Carried.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Simon, can you take us off?
Not yet.
Okay.
Provide detail about what was discussed in confidential.
Ken, it's all written down here for you.
Right, yeah, we're back up.
Thank you, Simon. I will now hand over to Ken to go through what decisions were made in closed council.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Items of confidentiality brought into the open council is that item 12, the discussion in relation to farm stay accommodation at Williamsville Road, Curler. Council resolved to note the update and progress with the recommendation of enforcement. Item 12.2, plant replacement approval for the tender for replacement of plant number 517 for a flatbed truck. Council resolved to accept the tender from Mildura Truck Centre for the supply of the Isuzu for the sum of $130,142 excluding, and accept the price of $9,000 for a trade-in. Further to that, 12.3, plant replacement approval of tenders for replacement of plant number 67. Council resolved to accept the tender from Tup Bryant for the supply of a Yamna excavator for the sum of $106,700 and accept the price of $22,000 including GST for the trade-in. Item 12.4, plant replacement approval of tender for the replacement of plant number 527 single axle tip truck. Council resolved to accept the tender option 2 from Johnson Trucks for the supply of one Hino FG medium for the sum of $153,200 and accept the trade of $22,000 from Mildura Truck Centre for the council-owned Isuzu. Item 12.5, plant replacement approval of tender for the replacement of plant number 309 for a 4x4 long wheel single cab utility. Council resolved to accept the tender from Pioneer Ford for the supply of one Ford Ranger single cab chassis for the sum of $57,883 including GST and accept the trade price of $30,000 for the existing council vehicle. Item 12.6 was discussion around the Wentworth Doctors proposal, in which point in time Council resolved to advise the Wentworth District Community Medical Centre Incorporated that Council is supportive of the intentions of the group, that the register of interest in the nominated building infrastructure is acknowledged, that at this point in time Council is not in a position to provide a building for their nominated purpose without the input of the other health professionals in relation to the sustainable Wentworth Health Precinct infrastructure, that the Wentworth Health Precinct planning progresses and as it does that the local group be involved as an interested party, and further that Council resolved to advise Kumiala Health Aboriginal Corporation that Council is supportive of the Wentworth Medical Clinic business plan, that Council procure equipment for the establishment of the Wentworth Medical Clinic to the value of $37,500 from this year's financial budget when the clinic is confirmed an opening date, that Council allocate $37,500 per annum for the next 3 years to assist in the operational expenditure for the running of the Wentworth Medical Clinic. That's as all items resolved in the closed session of Council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That is the conclusion of the meeting. So thank you, everyone. I know it wasn't an easy meeting to sit through and go through. We'll have to look at different ways we can, we might be able to have our next meeting. Hopefully by next month, a lot of these restrictions could be lifted and we might be able to get in one room. I reckon it went quite all right. Cancel as, yeah, I think it was fine considering it's technology and what we've got to deal with. So thank you. I'll leave it at that. And the next meeting is the 13th of May. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
See you all later. Thank you.
Afternoon.
Bye.